So I'm joined by Mark Michelson, the Executive Director of MMRA. Thank you for joining me. We're talking a little bit about the upcoming MRMW event in London. Would you like to tell us a little bit about what you're going to be doing there?
Well, sure. The MRMW is really where the MMRA got its founding. After the event in Atlanta in 2011, we really took it on ourselves to create an association around mobile, which was the first time an association actually created itself around a channel of data collection. Since that time, we've really banded together. We've had well over 200 members that have joined, and we've helped create the standards and guidelines with SMR, which we've been promoting pretty strongly. We've had short versions of that as well as long versions. And now we're embarking on a very aggressive education campaign with our hands-on workshops. So the hands-on workshop essentially is intended to allow test drives of different platforms. One of the most infuriating things is you see all these presentations, you see all the papers about how great everything is and how it all works, but you really don't know how to do it. So our goal is to help people really understand how it works, give them the keys, let them test drive it, look over their shoulder, and make that magic happen between their laptop and the mobile device so they can actually see how that all works, both on a Qual and Quant platform. And the hands-on workshop, we have scheduled at about 30 events for next year in 2014, both in the research industry and outside the industry. But, of course, with MRMW, we're tied to them very closely because really that's where we got our founding. And it's a very focused mobile event. It's the only focused mobile event we know of. And we intend to be a long-term partner with them for as long as they run it.
Have you been to 30 countries? Whereabouts are you on this kind of world tour right now?
Well, this tour in particular is really sort of preamble to next year. We've run the workshops now primarily at the MRMW, though we did one at MSPA, the Mystery Shopping Providers Association, which is another group I created back in '97. This tour that I'm doing right now, which is global, is a mixed bag. Of course, you know, SMR last week in Istanbul, or 2 weeks ago. I was in Shanghai helping with some moderator training because I'm a Quali. In Italy, I was down there meeting with my partner and doing some other things. But the MRMW here is our fourth workshop that we've done that's a hands-on workshop. We did Kuala Lumpur, we did Minneapolis, we did here, and then I did it in Bucharest, which was the MSPA conference. We've lined up now all these workshops for next year in 30 different events. Now, some of them are in the U.S. We're doing 6 or so just in the U.S. alone, so that's just one country. Really haven't divided out how many countries, but it's all continents. We haven't worked in Africa yet, but we'll get there. But we are doing, Asia, Pacific, Europe, North America, South America. So all those areas we're covering next year at different events. And these are big global events, especially with groups like the MMA, the Mobile Marketing Association, which is not really researchers, but they're doing research. And because mobile itself is blurring the lines between research and marketing itself. You think about it. You go out with Foursquare. How was your experience? Rated on a scale. Oh, thank you very much. Now here's your coupon to get your discount wherever you are. Happening more and more and more. And particularly as you get more and more engagement with a customer at that moment where they're in the field, where they're doing their shop, or they're at a hotel or at a restaurant, that moment of engagement is really what mobile delivers.
You said that obviously you've been around the country, around the world, sorry, so many different countries. How do you expect, is the reception very different in different countries? What do you expect from the upcoming event in MRMW for how this is going to be received? Does it vary, or is it very, very much similar?
Well, you know, I see a lot of the similarities around the world, and this is unlike some industries where I've seen actual curves of industry curves. This is really more by storm than anything else. I think I've seen more adaptation of enthusiasm around mobile, but I don't know that I've actually seen actual adoption of mobile, okay? So you see a lot of the same papers and presentations in North America that you would see in Asia. Frankly, it's a lot of the same speakers, but there is a twist for each country because in Europe, for instance, the privacy laws are so different than they are in North America. Over there, privacy is more of a commodity, and over here, privacy is more of a right. And I did say those properly, I think. So we do run into those kinds of things. And when you start dealing with new technologies like Google Glass and always-on video and always-on, technologies, there's some serious ramifications to legal issues, to ethical issues, and to being able to capture the customer experience and the human experience wherever you are all the time, 24/7. We have yet to really get into any of that. Although our guidelines do address, for research purposes, what is ethical, what's legal, and really some of the guidelines around that to keep respondent trust. The big issue is the newer technologies that come into place, particularly with wearable devices. And this could be anything from not only the visual of a Google Glass, but also measuring your heart rate, measuring your galvanic skin response, measuring, your temperature of skin, etc., at different moments of where you are. And you know where you are through GPS, you know how you're feeling through these biometrics. And then you're able to also visualize that and hear it. It's a brave new world.
We were speaking to one of the senior developers on that last week on a Hangout. Are you going to be attending the Google Glass presentation at the upcoming event? And what are your thoughts on that?
Absolutely, looking forward to it. I hope to be able to put them on and nod my head around and make it all work. I have ideas about what Google Glass is, but I have yet to actually look through the lens, and I'm really hoping that we all have a chance to take a sneak peek at that. To me, it's fascinating. I think that Google Glass is just one of many, wearable devices in general. I was in an Apple store not more than about a month ago. And 3 months ago, there was no wearable, displays, right? So a month or so ago, there's a whole wall dedicated to wearable devices, from watches to wristbands to necklaces to all these things, patches, etc. I think that the Google Glass is just the start of this. You're going to find everybody's going to have some sort of optics, wearable optics, and controllable through the eyes, because, the eyes are the windows to the soul. And as researchers, not only doing research into human behavior and emotions, but also eye tracking and what are we seeing and how do we feel. Picasso had it right when he said that computers are fantastically dumb and that they can only answer questions. It's up to us to ask the questions. The data are around us all the time. We have to come up with the questions to query the data. So, just because the data is there doesn't mean that I know how to use it. It's just because the ocean's there doesn't mean I know how to fish for bluefin versus jellyfish. Okay, so you have to know how to go in and find the data, how to bait your hook properly, and how to fish out just that which you need when you need it. So that is becoming an art in itself, and data science is certainly a growing category for new researchers in the world. It didn't exist 10 years ago so much. But there's a lot of brighter minds that deal with the quant stuff than I. I'm a Qual guy, so to me, big data is thousands of photographs and lots of video, right? It's not really categorized yet. I still have to go in and fish through it to extract what I need from my clients. I mean, you've got automated functions, right? And then you've got the researcher eyeball. So again, these data exist around us at all times. If you're coding it and you're digitizing these data that are around us all the time, it just means there's more and more data. It's a huge ocean of data now. It's a galaxy of data. It's a universe of data. It still doesn't help me solve a business issue, right? I have to have a business case to use these data. It's very simple that I have to have a way to go in, extract the data under whatever filter I put in place, bring that to the table for decision making. That's the role of a researcher. Is that ever going to change? No, I think it's growing. As you have more data, the filters have to become more accurate, right? So, and again, Qual Quant, huge differences in data, especially with Google Glass, visualization, facial recognition, different encoding of recognition of physical landmarks, etc. Tied in with GPS, tied in with galvanic skin response, heart rate, immediate environmental sensors, etc. you start to get a better picture of the human experience, which is really all these devices are trying to do.
Thank you, Mark, for joining us. Absolute pleasure to have your opinions. Thank you for joining us.
My pleasure.
Thank you.